Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak. It's September 26, 2020. Yes, COVID-19 is everywhere. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna need some Diet Coke with that Dr. Pepper. Yeah, COVID-19 is spreading all over the world ahead of flu season. As you know, flu season is coming. And it's about 6 months long. End of September, beginning of October till like April, May. Um, yeah, a lot of people are gonna die. Um, yeah, and it's COVID-19 is an RNA virus. It impacts your DNA mechanism. It's a very dangerous virus, 365 days a year virus. It can infect you any day of 365 days a year. Doesn't go away. Um, as we saw in America, 1,000 people have died per day in August in US. Um, so we know how dangerous it is. Some of you may know people who have died from COVID-19. And you're listening to English Baroque music. Pretty nice, isn't it? Today is European Day of Languages. There are a lot of languages in Europe. Whenever I think about a lot of languages, I think about Tower of Babel in the book of Genesis. People banded together, made alliances, and said, if we create a tower that reaches up to heaven, um, you know, uh, we could be like God. Human beings are always trying to strive to be like God or to be better than God. And obviously God doesn't like that because God is a jealous God. Old Testament and New Testament tells us God gets jealous. And God doesn't like it when you try to act like you're his equal. So what happened in Tower of Babel is there was one language at that time in the world, and God broke up people into different languages so that they could not communicate with each other. It's a divide and conquer mentality, right? That's what God did. That God divided the people in order to conquer them. And so, because of all these different languages, the Tower of Babel had to stop. Um, God does get a friend. God does feel a friend. And God does act when he feels friend. So there's something that you should know from the Bible. God wants us to worship him uh, and treat him as an absolute monarch and obey his laws. That's what God wants. Um, and obviously God expects you to give him what he wants. Um, yeah, so God is not a Democratic president or a senator or a House of Representative member. He's an absolute monarch. He's an absolute dictator. And God likes it that way. That's his preferred system, absolute monarchy, with you having no rights. That's what God likes. So democracy is not what God likes. That's very clear in the Bible. There was democracy in the Old Testament. God did not like it. God did not give Israelites democracy. Israel remained an absolute monarchy under God as God's authority. And in the New Testament, there was democracy, obviously, because ancient Rome was democracy. But God did not like democracy. And so Jesus Christ never talked about a republic of God or democracy of God. Jesus Christ only talked about kingdom of God and talked about king. And Jesus is referred to in the Bible as king, in the book of Revelations as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So Jesus likes to be an absolute monarch. He's not a democratic leader. He's an absolute monarch dictator. And that's what Jesus likes. He likes being a dictator. Um, yeah, that's what God prefers, and he wants us to submit to God absolutely, you know, and we have no rights in the kingdom of Christ because it's not a democracy, it's absolute monarchy. So people from democracies don't always understand God and kingdom of God very well. God doesn't share leadership, delegate authority. God is an absolute monarch. He just commands. There's this chain of command. Authoritarian leader, um, dictator. Yeah, that's who God is. That's what he prefers to be. That's why God refers to the kingdom of God as kingdom of God. When Jesus referred to God's government as kingdom of God in the New Testament. So that's why God prefers absolute monarchy. He doesn't like democracy, God. Um, we know this because every one of the 12 apostles of Jesus were arrested by democracy, Roman Empire, because the apostles of Jesus said the only way to salvation is Jesus Christ alone, and Christianity is the only true religion. And obviously, in democracy, they want you to respect all religions, and Christians, early Christians, did not do that. And so, because they're trying to always convert everyone else to Christianity, right? Roman pagan religions, you know, whatever religion other people are in, they're trying to convert them to Christianity. And so the Roman Empire used the law of the land to arrest all the apostles of Jesus Christ and execute them in the democratic court system for religious intolerance. Um, yeah, you know, that's, you know, democracies, that's what they do. Um, and so that's why Jesus never liked democracy. Bible doesn't like democracy. God doesn't like democracy. None of the apostles like democracy. Yeah, so that's just the way it is. I'm just giving you historical data that's factual. You can read it for yourself in the New Testament, Old Testament. Oh, this is nice. Baroque music from England. Yeah, I wanted to share some photos with you. I was a director of English Ministries at Trenton Presbyterian Church, Trenton Korean Presbyterian Church. It's one of the biggest Korean Presbyterian churches, or even just all denominations, Korean churches in New Jersey. As you know, state of New Jersey has a city called Trenton, New Jersey, which is about 30 minutes from Philadelphia. So this church actually is in Cherry Hill area where a lot of Koreans live. So New Jersey has two Koreatown areas. That's Cherry Hill, which is kind of in central New Jersey, and Bergen County, which is in northern New Jersey. So you have two different Koreatowns in New Jersey, state of New Jersey. Some say Bergen County is closer to New York because a lot of people who live in Bergen County work in Manhattan or in other boroughs of New York. So they say Orange County is the true Koreatown of New Jersey. But I lived in Bergen County, and I like to see both Koreatowns as Koreatowns in the state of New Jersey. Now, Trenton Korean Presbyterian Church is in Orange, Cherry Hill area of New Jersey, close to Trenton. And obviously, it's called Trenton Presbyterian Church because it originally started it in Trenton, but it kind of moved out into Orange County as Koreans moved from the city of Trenton to like kind of Orange County, not Orange County, Cherry Hill areas of New Jersey. There are a lot of Koreans there. So as you see, as a director of English Ministries, I took some of the college students and high school students, middle school students, to young adults, to a Student for Christ conference every winter. There's a Student for Christ conference in the East Coast, in the West Coast, in the South, and in the North. So they have regional conferences, and they have one time every 3 years, triannual national conference. And So yeah, so I took Trenton Korean Presbyterian English Ministry people, those who have signed up, all the way to I guess Valley Forge. Actually, it's not Valley Forge. It was Gettysburg area. That's where the Student for Christ conference was. So I thought we'll do some sightseeing. So we stopped by in Harrisburg, which is the capital city of Pennsylvania, and I got got a tour for them in this Pennsylvania State Capitol. So you see the State Capitol building there on the steps. Um, the English Ministries members taking photo there. And they had a special program. It was graduation Sunday. I guess it was the Sunday before the Student for Christ SFC conference, regional conference. But this was in the summer time, so they have regional conference in the winter and regional conference in the summer. So they have two regional conferences per year. Um, and so they dressed up, and those who were graduating from high school or college presented like a special music devotion. So you see the graduates of that year from high school and college there standing there. Um, Interestingly enough, there was one girl who was a I guess, pre pre-med nursing student, BSN student at Georgetown University, Georgetown Hoya, at that time, who was a member of the church, and she graduated from Georgetown that year. And so it's funny because I just graduated from Georgetown University School of Nursing and Health Studies with Clinical Nurse Leader program, and there were 25 board members, and we got pinned together in June with BSN students, and there was 26 of them. So this was a while ago when I was a director of English Ministries at Trenton Korean Presbyterian Church. Um, and so, yeah, so it's kind of funny, the world is small, everything is connected. But yeah, so yeah, I've done a lot of important things. Obviously, I have played a major Korean leadership role in many different states in the United States of America. And New Jersey is one of these states where I played a very serious leadership role as a Korean leader, communal leader. And so, yeah, I want to say hello to everybody. Hey, guys. I'm sure all of them are watching this show. Because the show is, watched by a lot of different people. And yeah, I mean, we had non-Koreans in the English ministries. We had African Americans. We had church members who who are Koreans, who are married to African Americans or white Americans, Latino Americans. So we had children from those marriages as well. And it's a very eclectic, English ministries group. And some people just came even though they weren't Korean, because I'm a really good English ministries director. So yeah, yeah. So shout out to Trenton Korean Presbyterian Church. Yeah, so a lot of people know me in New Jersey. A lot of people know me everywhere. Just within the Korean context, as a leader of Korean people. Yeah, so I thought I'll share some photos from there. Children, young people, college students, high school students, they're the leader, future of our country, right? And for Korean churches, they're the future of the Korean churches. And there are a lot of Korean churches in Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County. Um, yeah, so yeah, the leaders there know me as a leader of Koreans. Korean community is very small. Everybody connects. So everybody knows everybody. you know. Yeah, when you have an ethnic group that gathers around ethnic churches, it connects. After a while, everybody knows everyone. Yeah. And Koreans, who work at Virginia Hospital Center, they go to Korean church on Sundays. I mean, it's like that everywhere. Koreans who work at MedStar Georgetown Hospital go to Korean churches on Sunday. Koreans who work at Innova Fairfax Hospital go to Korean churches on Sunday. Korean doctors who work at Innova Alexandria go to Korean churches on Sunday. Korean doctors who work at Children's National Hospital go to Korean churches on Sunday. Koreans who work as, occupational therapists in George Washington University Hospital go to Korean churches on Sunday. You know how it is. Ethnic people go to their own church, like Latinos go to Latino church, Black people go to Black church, Koreans go to Korean church, Vietnamese people go to Vietnamese church. That's how it is. Every Sunday, people go to their ethnic group church. White people go to white church. That's generally the way things are. And it's no different in Virginia State District, Arlington, Alexandria Falls Church of Fairfax County. It's a very, we have 100 different racial groups, national groups in Arlington County alone, 26 square miles, small area, but we have 100, over 100 different nations represented, immigrants. And we have over 100, 800,000 people in Virginia State District. And on Sundays, they all go to their ethnic churches. Like I take a walk around my neighborhood, there's a Mongolian church. Yeah, there's a church that speaks in Mongolian. Like the members are like 100% or nearly 100% Mongolian. Yeah, it's just like 3 blocks from here. There's a Latino church that meets in a Anglo Baptist church at different time. It's all in Spanish. Latinos go to that church. And there was a Chinese church that's a Presbyterian PCA, Presbyterian Church in America church. That's like where is that? Is that in yeah, it's in the, what do you call that? Lee Highway, is it? Yeah, there are a lot of different ethnic churches, and there are Korean churches everywhere, as you probably noticed as you drive. Yeah, so there's a lot of churches, and people say Sunday is the most segregated time in America, segregated time and day in America, because everybody wants to worship with their ethnic group. But it's not such a bad thing. Um, like Koreans feel comfortable with Koreans. Blacks, often feel comfortable with blacks. Latinos feel comfortable with Latinos. Whites feel comfortable with whites. And, in ethnic churches, we have the language issue, right? In Korean churches, we speak Korean. Although I was Director of English Ministries at Trenton Presbyterian Church. But, the main programs are all in Korean. And during the graduation ceremony, everything was in Korean, and then there was a translator for those who are not good enough in Korean. But there's a reason why these young people go to a Korean church and not go to a white church, even though they can't even speak English. I mean, they can't even speak Korean; they only speak English. They prefer their ethnic group, and so. If you go to like George Mason University during lunchtime, you see people sitting with their ethnic groups, Black people with Black people, Latinos with Latinos, Asians with Asians, Koreans with Koreans, whites with whites. It's like that at Georgetown. You go to like, lunch area, there's kind of like groupings of ethnic students. Students, Asians sitting with Asians, Blacks sitting with Blacks, white sitting with whites, Latino sitting with whites. So I mean, there's some areas with mixture, but it's like that in every place. UCLA is like that. University of Pennsylvania is like that. Harvard is like that. Northwestern University is like that. It's like that everywhere in America. So ethnic identity is important for a lot of individuals, and I would say that's a good thing. Being tied to your ethnic group, tied to your cultural heritage, it's a good thing. It gives you stability. It gives you a support system. It gives you attachment to the past. Like if you're a Latino from Colombia, and you were born in America, but your parents are Colombian, from Colombia in Latin America, kind of going to a Colombian church gives you a connection to your heritage. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. So yeah, more power to you if you have strong ties with your ethnic group. America is a country of immigrants, and people should not forget their own country. They should celebrate cultural heritage from their own country. You have a lot of Irish Americans going back to Ireland. Some get married with Irish citizens. It's like that with Koreans as well. Like some Korean Americans go back to Korea, marry Korean citizens, and that happens with like Latinos from Colombia, Bolivia, Venezuela, Guatemala, Mexico. I don't think it's a bad thing, being tied to your home country or old country. May give you a stronger sense of identity and self-confidence, and a support network. So it's a good thing. And I'm sure, the reality exists, in all the hospitals, among all the nurses, um, and all the doctors, and all the occupational therapists. They have their ethnic group identities that they're tied to, They can't avoid that. In America, because it's a country of immigrants, and it's a good thing. I celebrate it. More power to you. I encourage you to be attached to your parents, cultural background and learn about it. Learn to speak Spanish, Korean, Chinese, Mongolian, whatever the language your parents speak. Speaking more languages is always a good thing, and that's what multiculturalism is, right? Kind of appreciating all the differences that exist in America. And obviously, differences exist because people of different ethnic backgrounds, uh, they 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 strengthen their communities, ethnic communities, like Korean community, Guatemalan community, you know, uh, Ethiopian community that's very big. There's an big Ethiopian church. Uh, there are actually several of them, just like less than a mile from here, and it's a good thing. I see it as a very good thing. Yeah. So when we look at America, we have 823,000 deaths in 24 hours. I mean, 824 deaths. It is a weekend, 823 deaths. So it's like 1,000 deaths, and so we are now up to 204,480 deaths in America. Confirmed cases are at 7,076 or 7,076,828 cases. Yeah, so I mean it's increasing. We're having like anywhere from 40 to 60,000 cases per day, and it's not even flu season yet, so it's pretty serious. Or actually, it's kind of like beginning of flu season. So you're gonna see sharp rise everywhere. New York reported their first over 1,000 cases uh, in like several months. So New York is entering their peak right now, or they're beginning to enter their peak, which goes from September to December. I'm Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. I'm predicting that 1 million people in New York would die in this flu season. I think I'm right, because you have like 1,000 people dying. And today, I think it was today or yesterday, 3 Orthodox Jewish men walked into a hospital with COVID-19 and they died. Yeah, they died like a few hours after they were admitted into the hospital. 3 of them, Orthodox Jewish men. They just had Rosh Hashanah celebration last Friday. As you know, Israel completely shut down the country on Friday. Probably saved thousands of lives by doing that. But as you know, America is not completely shut down. So Orthodox Jewish communities, especially in New York, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Atlanta, Georgia, Miami, Florida, they went and just celebrated, like Rosh Hashanah, which is Jewish New Year. So now we're seeing the fruits of that. So the 3 men, Jewish men who got COVID-19 and died, they probably got it last Friday during Rosh Hashanah celebration. Some people get it and they die quicker. Some people, it takes like weeks. Some people take months to die. But that has started, as you can see. And so New York is going to have exponential growth of COVID and exponential death. That results in over million deaths. So that's coming. Um, but you know, California, Texas, Florida, these three states could also have over 1 million deaths in the flu season that's 6 months long. Just look at the numbers right now, right? California is number one for cases, 805,783 cases, and that's growing at 2% rate. Death is growing at 2% rate. So they have 15,562 people have died so far. That's like half of New York. That's pretty bad. And majority of those deaths were in the summer. Can you imagine what's coming in the wintertime? Texas, 754,154 cases. The number two in terms of cases in America, 2% death rate. More death in California though, because it's higher, 2 point something, it's higher than, death rate is higher than California. 15,705 deaths so far in Texas. So it has like almost half of New York's total death so far. And it's in the summer, so COVID is everywhere in California and Texas. So during flu season, it's just going to spread and kill a lot of people. So you could easily have 1 million in California die from COVID and flu season. You could easily have a million in Texas die from flu season. It's going to be horrific. Florida has 698,682 cases of COVID so far, 2% death rate, because most of these deaths in California, Texas, and Florida happened during the summer. And 14,022 have died so far in Florida. And I don't know what Governor DeSantis is thinking. He's like, all the businesses can be open. They're going through phase 3. How can you go to phase 3 when you have 15,000 or 14,000 people who died? It doesn't make sense to me what Governor DeSantis is doing. It seems like he's sentencing Floridians to die. I hope Florida's residents are smart enough not to just be out there getting COVID-19 and die. But it doesn't seem like Governor DeSantis is helping anybody. It's horrific what's happening in Florida. New York, as you know, had most of their death in the month of April. And now that New York had 1,000 cases in 24 hours, it's going to start spiking up. And I'm predicting at least 1 million deaths in New York, maybe over 2 million. I think that's something we got to expect. Like when you have 3 Orthodox Jewish men, they live very clean lives, walking into a hospital with COVID-19 and just dropping dead after a few hours upon admission, that is an indicator of what's coming, right? Because they're living a very clean and pure life. Only thing is that they got COVID, they just dropped dead. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of those cases in New York from now on. It's coming. It's gonna be tragic in New York. I feel really sorry for New Yorkers because so many of them are gonna die. If you have money, you gotta move out of the cities, concentrated areas like Brooklyn, Manhattan, Bronx. You just have to move out of these areas, or you're gonna die. A lot of people are gonna die, especially like in Manhattan. Yeah, I mean, you can live in expensive high rises, but that's not gonna protect you from COVID. Single homes is the best place to be if you want to survive COVID. Single home with a lot of front yard and backyard, more acreage, the better. Yeah. If you have money, you should move. If I had money, I'd move into a single home. This is much safer to live in a single home. Larger the property, safer it is. Because COVID-19 is person-to-person infection. So more people you just walk by get COVID. People can give you COVID just by breathing in your direction. Yes. 2 feet away, if they just breathe in your direction, you can get COVID. Just breathing in your direction. Yeah, I mean, this is a killer virus. It's a 365 days a year virus. So it's kind of like HIV virus, which is also 365 days a year virus, which kills like hundreds of thousands per year. It's like hepatitis C virus, which kills hundreds of thousands of people every year. It's a 365 days of virus. It's not going away. Both of them are not going away. Both of them don't have vaccines after decades of research. The only difference is COVID-19, you can get infected much easier. To get HIV, you have to have sex with somebody. You have to share needles, or you gotta get contaminated blood transfusion. That's the only way you can get HIV. Right? So it's hard to get, but still hundreds of thousands die every year. Hepatitis C is, it's similar. You have to have sex with someone, share a needle. So it's not easy to get as long as you're not having sex with somebody who has hepatitis C. As long as you're not sharing needles, you're not going to get it. But COVID-19 is different. People just have to breathe in your direction. You can get it if you're close enough. Yeah, that's why they are similar in that they're all 365 days a year virus that don't have vaccines that can kill you. But COVID-19 is million times more dangerous than HIV because people don't even have to touch you. They just have to breathe in your direction, you get COVID. That's why I'm saying minimum 3 million Americans will die. I'm thinking more like 20 million Americans will die in the flu season. That's 6 months long. Just think about it. If you have, every state have 60,000 people die, then you're gonna have 3 million deaths. Flu season is 6 months long. So 1 month, if you average of 10,000 deaths per month, you're gonna easily have 60,000 deaths per state. In the summer, we're having 1,000 deaths per day, when no one should be dying. You could easily have 10,000 deaths, 20,000 deaths, 30,000 deaths per day during flu season. Easily. I mean, state of New York could easily have 30,000 deaths per month in just one city, like New York. Easily. And it's not just New York, right? Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, Chicago and Illinois, Detroit and Michigan, Milwaukee and Wisconsin, Los Angeles in California, San Francisco in California, San Diego in California, Seattle in Washington, Miami in Florida, Orlando in Florida, Atlanta in Georgia, Charlotte in North Carolina, Charleston in South Carolina, Montgomery in Alabama. You get my point. Baltimore in Maryland, Washington, D.C. Yeah, you can have tremendous number of people die. We wait until we enter flu season full force. You'll see death after death after death. It's going to be horrific. Georgia is number 5. And it's number 5, but it has the, it's significantly lower number of cases, and significantly lower number of deaths from the top 4. So they have 313,978 cases and 6,914 deaths. Death rate is 2%. Yeah, it's horrific right now. It's horrific. But it's not just happening in the United States. Misery wants company. Even though England saw United States open colleges and have all these college students get infected with COVID, English people are so stupid. They opened up their colleges, opened up their dormitories, and exactly what has been happening in America is now happening in England. How stupid do you have to be? It's like monkey see, monkey do. It's like, oh, if you open up your college, America, you're going to get students getting COVID. Oh, we understand. Oh, we're going to open up our college so we could have our students get COVID. Do you see the stupidity of English government? English universities. Now you're going to have millions of people die in England because they opened the colleges. Let's look at some major articles. UK universities grapple with spiraling COVID-19 outbreaks. Does that sound familiar? That's what was happening in America. UK had 1 month to see what's going on, and they still repeated the process in their own country. How stupid do you have to be, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, to open up your country and open your universities like American universities, repeating the same exact thing? Deja vu. I mean, just you had a chance to avert millions of deaths in England, but you did not take it. You still opened up your colleges, endangering your citizens. The Conservative Party must be the stupidest party in the world. Conservative Party in England must be the stupidest party in the world because they had a whole month to see what was going on in America with colleges opening and students getting COVID and dormitories quarantined and residents in college towns getting infected with COVID, heading to flu season with massive potential COVID death. But the Conservative Party in England is so stupid. They did exactly what American colleges did. They opened their colleges. They're like, oh, if American people are going to go die by having colleges open, so will we, England as a nation. That's how stupid English Conservative Party is. I hope you defeat them. I hope you vote every Conservative Party member out of your government, because that's the right thing to do, because the Conservative Party has basically sentenced all of England to COVID-19 death. You gotta vote them out. You know, maybe bring in United Kingdom Independence Party, UKIP, or Scottish National Party. You know, I mean, geez, Scotland should go independent. When England is being so stupid, and their policies are going to kill all of you all over in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, it's time to go independent. You know, maybe Northern Ireland should break away and join Ireland, become one Ireland, you know, because Conservative Party British government is the stupidest government in the world. They saw exactly what happened in American colleges. They saw exactly what happened in American dormitories, and they did exactly the same thing. Monkey see, monkey do. With a government like that, you don't need any enemies, right? With a conservative British government in Britain, I mean, who needs enemies? I mean, geez, your government is killing you through COVID. You don't need an enemy. I mean, your nation's going to collapse on its own from millions of deaths in the flu season that's coming. I mean, you remember what happened in March and April? Geez, you forget so quickly. And now you people are going to die in the millions in the 6 months of flu season that's coming. Yeah, the article is by Kate Holton and Reuters today. And the significant quote from that article is, students travel across the country. They're bringing COVID-19 from every corner of England to their college town, mixing all the different strains. As you know, there are over 40 strains of COVID-19 and mutating these strains. And God knows how many more strains are going to be produced. Students travel across the country to start university this month, paying thousands of pounds. Pounds is British currency, it's like dollars, to live in halls of residence like dormitories and attend lectures in institutions such as Cambridge, Oxford University College, London, and Edinburgh University in Scotland. But coronavirus outbreaks have forced some colleges to ask students to self-isolate in their dorms. Flu season has barely started. Can you imagine what's going to happen once flu season is like in full force? Students are going to be dropping dead left and right in all these colleges. Threatening to leave pupils isolated when they have made few friends and raising questions over their future fees. I mean, you're going to have thousands of students die in every college town. Thousands. You're going to have professors dying left and right. The brain of England will be dead in 6 months of flu season. It's going to be horrific. As you know, there are 25 of us who graduated from Georgetown University, clinical nurse leader master's program. I'm predicting minimum 5 will die. All of us, you know, spent 6 semesters full time straight through. Well, not all of us. Billy took 1 year off because he was in the U.S. military. He is in the U.S. Navy as an officer. He served for like 19 or 20 years in U.S. Navy as an officer after the Naval Academy. And he got commissioned to Somalia for 1 year. So he took 1 year to do, serve our nation in highly volatile terrorist area of Somalia. He came back and finished his 2nd year. So besides him, everybody went straight through 6 semesters, full time. There are 25 of us who graduated. Um, and so, yeah. So I want to do a cheer for my core members because I know some are going to die, unfortunately. Obviously, I don't want them to die, but this is COVID-19. And Dr. Fauci said COVID-19 can spread by aerosol or through the air, like through airborne precautions. So Dr. Fauci has been speaking a lot about how COVID-19, some strains can be suspended in air. Yeah, they just float in air. So, yeah, a lot of nurses are going to get it, and some are going to die from it. Yeah, I'm predicting minimum 10,000 nurses will die by Christmas 2020 in United States alone. We're not even talking about England here. But United States alone, we're going to minimum 10,000 nurses die from COVID-19. Because as you know, COVID-19 mutated to infect young people in large numbers. And I coined that strain, Florida virus, that started in like June. So now nurses in their 20s can get COVID and they could die from it in flu season. Because in flu season, things get really serious. Like in the summer, you may be asymptomatic, but it's not going to be like that in the flu season. Yeah. So a lot of people are going to die. I'm predicting like minimum 5, maybe even up to 10 will die out of 25 of us who graduated from cohort 2020 at Georgetown University Clinical Nurse Leader Program, CNL 2020. So I want to do a cheer for you guys because I know some of us are going to die before Christmas. And that's to be expected, and some people have peanut allergies, some people have asthma, some people have other pre-existing conditions, some are overweight. So there's high chance that people could die. People with these conditions can die before Christmas 2020. So I want to do a cheer for all of us because we have accomplished a lot. We graduated on August 24, 2020. 34 of us started and 25 of us graduated. I guess if you count Billy, if you take Billy out because he originally started at CNL 2019 cohort, then 10 of us dropped out because we started out with 34 in CNL 2020 cohort at Georgetown, and 24 from that same cohort, which began in summer 2018, finished. And then 24 plus 1, Billy, the U.S. naval officer, makes it 25. So 10 out of 34, basically dropped out of our cohort, 2020 CNL cohort. So like there's 25 of us who graduated, so all of us are in cohort 2020 now, including Billy. And so I want to do a cheer for all of us because some of us will be dead by Christmas. And so this is the time to celebrate our achievement. CNL 2020, CNL 2020. Georgetown Hoyas, yay! But I still haven't received my pin yet. We got virtually pinned in June. Where's our pin, Amanda? Amanda Patterson is the administrator for Clinical Nurse Leader cohort. We're 2020. She also manages CNL 2021, the cohort that's going to graduate 1 year from now, or like in August 2021. And now they have a new cohort, CNL 2022. So Amanda Patterson manages, is the administrator for all of us, and she promised to send us our pin. So I'm still waiting, Amanda. Hi, Amanda. Thanks so much for all you do. She's great. I love Amanda. She threw us like really nice Valentine's Day like party for the for the department, Department of Professional Nursing Practice. And yeah, she threw us like great Halloween party. Halloween's coming. And she threw us great, Christmas party. She does a lot of really great stuff, and so she made our life really nice. Unfortunately, the whole nursing school is online basically now. Whole Georgetown University is online, 100% online, right? That's to protect the lives of professors, because professors are, they can die. Like these professors who are old, who are not physically fit. I mean, nursing professors, there are a lot of nursing professors who are physically fit, but like generally professors are researchers, so they're not physically fit. So they have very high chance of dying from COVID. So going 100% online protects the professors and staff members, but also students, because now we have COVID-19, strains that really infect young people. And young people have died in the summer, and in the flu season, they're going to die in large numbers. And so the Florida virus is there to kill a lot of young people. So like Hoya students, undergraduates and graduate students, they can survive COVID-19 because now it's 100% online. Undergraduates are 100% online. Graduate students are 100% online. MBA courses are 100% online. Nursing school courses are 100% online. School of Foreign Service courses are 100% online. Court school public policy is 100% online. Graduate school courses like chemistry, physics, English, history, they're all 100% online. So, that's one way to save lives of students, right? And their families, and so it's a good thing. So I worked 3 months to shut Georgetown University campus down because they're originally going to open. And I was worried that people are going to die in large numbers. Yeah, I'm glad I did that, and I'm glad I was successful. I worked 3 long months to shut the campus down because, it's like my community, right? I was there for 2 years and part of the community. I have a lot of friends there, a lot of friends among professors, a lot of friends among undergraduates, a lot of friends among graduate students. I don't want them to die. So it was kind of personal as well. So I'm glad I was able to shut Georgetown University down after 3 months of hard work. And I worked 3 months to shut the public school system in Virginia's 8th district down because I don't want you to die. I don't want your children to die. So I worked 3 months to shut public schools in Virginia's 8th district, which includes Arlington County, City of Alexandria, City of Falls Church, and part of Fairfax County. So there are 4 school districts represented in Virginia's 8th district, and I worked hard to make sure all of them go 100% remote online. And thank God, I was successful. So I saved your lives. I saved thousands of children's lives in every one of these school districts. So I'm proud of the work that I did to save your life. That's just the kind of political candidate I am. As you know, I'm an independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th district. So make sure you write my name in, Heerak Christian Kim, on the ballot. If you are voting early on the absentee ballot, or if you're physically going in early, voting early, write my name in, Heerak Christian Kim. Make sure you get the spelling correct. As you know, and as I've shared, I filed a lawsuit with Virginia Governor Northam and Virginia Department of Elections to have my name listed on the ballot. As you know, Virginia Governor Northam issued an executive order for stay at home on March 30th to last till June 10th. So it was illegal to go door to door knocking and getting signatures, petitions signed. But obviously, independent candidates have to have 1,000 signature petitioners signed, and they generally do that by going door to door. So I couldn't do that once Governor Northam issued the stay-at-home order. And as you know, I changed over from a Republican candidate to independent, basically end of February, beginning of March. So I needed to collect 1,000 signatures. When I was a Republican candidate, I didn't have to collect any signatures because Republican candidates were going to a convention, Republican convention for Virginia's 8th District, and the delegates from Arlington County Republican Committee, delegates from Alexandria City Republican Committee, delegates from Falls Church Republican Committee, delegates from Fairfax County Republican Committee were going to vote. I would have won that, but God guided me in a different direction. So I ended up running as an independent. So once I decided to run as an independent, I had to collect like 1,000 signatures. And so I could have easily collected with me and volunteers. I had dozens of volunteers. But the problem is Virginia Governor Northam issued that executive order making it illegal to go door to door. So I wrote to Chip Piper, the commissioner of Department of Virginia Elections, Virginia Department of Elections, asking for waiver for the 1,000 signature because it's illegal to collect signatures and it's practically impossible to collect signatures. These are acceptable legal reasons why I should have my requirement waived because it's illegal to collect the signature. So I have legitimate legal reasons, but the commissioner Chip Piper wrote back and said he doesn't have the legal authority to give me a waiver. So as soon as I received that letter, I wrote to Virginia Governor Northam. But he hasn't written me back yet. He still hasn't written me back. So I was waiting and waiting for like weeks and weeks. But by June 3rd, I realized I had to submit something to the court in case Governor Northam decides not to give me a waiver. So 6 days before the deadline, I filed a lawsuit against Governor Northam and Virginia Board of Elections, Department of Elections, and asked the court to issue a court order to put my name on the ballot. So that was in June 3rd. But unfortunately, because of COVID-19, the court cases have been backlogged. Everything is slowed down because all the judges are working from home, lawyers are working from home. Everybody's working from home, or practically everybody's working from home. So everything is slowed down. So I'm still waiting but I'm sure my name will be on the ballot by November 3rd. But because of COVID-19, there's like early voting, early absentee ballot. So you do need to write my name in, Heerak Christian Kim. So don't forget to do that. Because as you know, I'm the right person to go to Congress to represent you and your family to save you and your children from COVID-19. You know that. So you should vote for me, right? I'm running against Tom Byer, who's a Democrat. He hasn't really done much. He didn't do anything to shut the Virginia 8th District public schools down to save you and your children. I did. So what kind of leader would you want? Someone who's been fighting for you to save your life and your children's life from COVID? Or someone who has really been doing nothing, like Tom Byer? So you want to vote for me, Heerak Christian Kim, obviously. I'm an independent candidate. I'm not Republican candidate. I'm not Democrat candidate. So vote for me. Write my name in, Heerak Christian Kim. Because I'm the best, representative you can have. So why would you want to throw the best representative away? You know what I'm saying? You need a good representative because COVID-19 is here to stay. It's going to be here for the next 2 years for sure. And Dr. Fauci said that. Everybody's saying that. But it's probably here for far longer than that because, as you know, HIV virus has been here for decades since it was first discovered, 365 days a year, every year until now. And there's no end in sight. Everybody knows it's forever. And so is hepatitis C virus. And hepatitis C kills hundreds of thousands every year. HIV kills hundreds of thousands every year. Both of them give people cancer. COVID-19 is going to kill far more, and it's going to give cancer too, most likely. Obviously, we need time to study how it could, if cancer, which kind of people get cancer, which organs get cancer, things like that. But it's logical based on similar virus activities that COVID-19 will produce cancer as well in your body. Yeah, COVID-19 is going to kill a lot of people. It's going to kill thousands of young people in every college town. Just watch and see. You'll see. Colleges that open, they made a serious mistake. Second article, UK reports record number of new COVID-19 cases as cities lock down. So cities are beginning to lock down in England. But how idiotic do you have to be to open colleges as your own city's locked down? I mean, do you get the notion that Prime Minister Boris Johnson doesn't know what he's doing? The Conservative Party in England doesn't know what it's doing? It's like leading the nation into death, massive COVID-19 death. It is what the Conservative Party of England is doing that is going to kill all these people in Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and England. It's their policy that's jeopardizing their lives. And it's a darn shame. I'm sure Queen of England, you see her photo there. I'm sure she's heartbroken by what the Conservative Party is doing, jeopardizing lives of British citizens. And J.K. Rowling, the author, brilliant author of Harry Potter, I'm sure she's very attractive, isn't she? But I'm sure she's very upset at what the Conservative Party is doing to jeopardize the lives of British citizens. I'm sure thinking British citizens are all shocked at the way Conservative Party is leading the country into COVID-19 death. It's so sad. Millions of people are going to die in England because of the very policies of the British government under the leadership of Conservatives. You got to vote them out. The article is written by staff in CBS News, and the significant quote from that article is, Leeds, a city of more than 750,000 in northern England, barred residents from meeting with members of other households, either indoors or in private backyards. In the Welsh city of Cardiff, Wales is a major different area in United Kingdom. It's actually a country, Wales. That's why they call it United Kingdom, because different kingdoms were united. So Wales is like a different country that was united under United Kingdom. Welsh cities of Cardiff, Swansea, and Llanelli, households also will be banned from mixing indoors because, as Dr. Fauci said, it's aerosol. Like inside the house, COVID-19 particles will float around, so you could easily get it. That's what Dr. Fauci is saying. And so it makes sense for them to prevent you from going to another person's house. Because there will be COVID, if they have COVID-19 particles will be floating around in their house. So you just walk into it, breathe it in, and get it. Especially if you're drinking tea or eating without mask on, you could get it, right? And in Scotland, students were asked not to go to bars and restaurants this weekend. They should shut the bars down. They should shut the restaurants down. We have students from all over England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland who came to University of Edinburgh or Scottish universities. They brought their COVID-19 with them. They're going to spread it to every Scottish people. Scotland may have over 1 million people die. I mean, geez, this is a horrific scenario where whole ethnic groups may die out, may go extinct. These things have happened in history where whole ethnic groups have been wiped out. A good example is smallpox wiping out several Indian nations, right? They just killed them all. There used to be over 100 different Indian nations in Northern America. Where are they now? Yeah, disease can just wipe them out, kill them all. It's just, smallpox should teach you what's possible with COVID-19. You think like you are better than the Native Americans or the first Americans of North America or South America? Like you think you're not going to be wiped out as a race or an ethnic group or as a nation by COVID-19 because you're like what? So superior to first Americans or Native Americans genetically? Is that what you're saying? No, I don't think so. Yeah, there will be like whole ethnic groups that are wiped out, like completely wiped out by COVID-19. Just like smallpox wiped out complete ethnic groups. 100% of the ethnic groups went extinct. This will happen in the COVID-19 era. And if COVID-19 continues for decades and decades and decades, which seems like it's going to be the case, we can have over 1 billion people in the world die. Why do you think that's not possible? Study the history of pandemics. 1/3 of the world's population were killed by bubonic plague. 1/3. We're talking about 33.4%. 1/3 of the world's population can die from COVID-19. Why do you think that's not possible? I mean, let's talk science here. There is no scientist in the United States of America or England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, Spain, Italy, France, Belgium, Germany, Sweden, Scandinavian countries, Finland, Estonia, China, Korea, Philippines, India, Pakistan, Russia, Mongolia, who will deny that it is possible for 1/3 of the world's population to die from COVID. No one's going to deny that. That is scientifically possible. Some of you want to reject science, but God created science, right? Nature operates from certain rules that God himself set into motion after he created the world according to the book of Genesis. So God himself created the cycle of life. God himself created that we breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. God created the world as earth is round. These are all handiwork of God. Science, from one vantage point, is just trying to understand the world that God has created. Sometimes they get it wrong, sometimes they get it right. In terms of pandemics, viruses, they've been studying that for decades, centuries. I mean, they know what these pathogens do. And yes, COVID-19 can kill 1/3 of the world's population. Over 2 billion people in the world can die from COVID over a long, protracted period. As you know, I'm Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. I'm predicting minimum 100 million people will die in the world in this flu season alone, minimum. Yeah, I'm predicting millions will die in England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. This flu season alone, next 6 months. Germany will have over 1 million deaths. France will have over 1 million deaths. Belgium will have over 1 million deaths. Spain will have over 1 million deaths. Italy will have over 1 million deaths. We are looking at a catastrophic flu season that is coming. Like, we are basically in the flu season. I mean, we're at the beginning edge of it. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be catastrophic. We have 1,000 people dying in America per day in the summer. In the flu season, you could have 30,000 die per day. Because remember, in April, COVID-19 wasn't in all 50 states, spreading wildly. It wasn't like that. Now, in the summer, we saw COVID-19 spread in every state, every inch of the state, with colleges opening up. Now we have every remote area that has COVID. And we're heading into flu season, 6 months long. There's going to be so many deaths, you're going to be dizzy just looking at the death figures. That's coming. And ask Dr. Fauci if I'm wrong. I am right. Ask Dr. Gottlieb if I'm wrong. I am right. Ask Dr. Han, if I'm right, he's going to say I'm right. It's possible. Ask Admiral if I'm right. He will say I'm right. Ask Surgeon General Adams if I'm right. He will say, yeah, that's possible. There isn't a healthcare expert who will say that is not possible, because it is scientifically possible for 1/3 of the world's population to die from COVID-19 in the next several years, next several decades. And COVID-19 is mutating constantly. Yeah, we're not going to have a vaccine that works. How are you going to get a vaccine that works when scientists have not even identified all the strains? There are over 40 strains of COVID-19. Tell me what all these strains are. Tell me the difference between the different strains. You haven't even identified the strains, and you don't know what each strains do. You don't know. Scientists do not know because COVID is so new, and COVID is such a complex virus. They don't even know how you're going to die from COVID. Some people die because they can't breathe. Some people die because they have a stroke in their brain. Some people die because they have a blood coagulation problem. Some people have inflammation of the heart and they die. Some people have heart attacks. Some people have problems with their liver. Some people, scientists do not know how you're going to die if you get COVID. They can't say definitively, oh, if you get COVID, X, Y, and Z can happen to you and you could die from that. They can't even say that because COVID does so many damaging things in your body. Scientists just don't know. They still have not discovered the pattern of what kind of people get stroke, except to say people in their 20s tend to have stroke when they get COVID, 20s and 30s, young people. But there have been people who are older who got stroke too, like mini stroke or stroke. They don't know. They don't know what kind of people are more prone to getting stroke when they get COVID. They don't know which kinds of people are more prone to getting heart inflammation. There have been people who became paralyzed after they got COVID. They don't know which kind of people are more prone to get paralyzed. Some got paralyzed, in certain areas. Some got paralyzed like from neck down. They don't know which people will get which person will have what effect, experience, what disability they will experience. People don't know. Experts don't know because it's so new, and COVID-19 is so complex. There's so many different strains. They don't know what strain does what. And you're telling me they're going to develop a vaccine that works? Are you kidding me? Do you take us for an idiot? Geez, you can't even tell us what COVID-19 does to kill you, right? They know that if you get COVID-19, you could die, but they can't tell you definitively the steps and the process that occurs once you get infected from COVID. They can't even tell you that. They can't even tell you the pathway of COVID-19 infection to damage of your organs. They can't even tell you the pathway. How are you going to develop a vaccine to block the pathway? How? Yeah. The emblem there, with the 3 chicken heads? That's Jesus College, Cambridge. As you know, I'm a permanent member of Jesus College, Cambridge. I love Jesus College, Can I get a 5? All of you Jesus College alumni out there who are members of Jesus College, can I get a 5? Yeah, give me a 5. Can I get a 5? Yeah. And they have great May balls. Like every June, they have this banquet, like Cinderella ball, that you read about in fairy tales. It goes from like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So like in Cinderella, she leaves at stroke of midnight, right? But that's only like halfway through the ball or less than halfway through the ball. So, when I was a little kid, I'm like, midnight, that's like awfully late, But like after going to Jesus College and having been to several Jesus College balls, I realized like I understand Cinderella's story better because the balls are like overnight. Yeah, so when Cinderella leaves at stroke of midnight and she loses her slipper, the party's just kind of getting started, And so I realized like after being in England, going to a ball, like that story makes sense, And to one of the Jesus College May balls, I took Rachel Saunders, and you see me with my tux, and she has her dress, and yeah, she's pretty, isn't she? She's from Northern Ireland, Rachel Saunders, and I guess she was like she was a third year in England. Undergraduate program is 3 years, so she was like, I guess, like 21 or 22. Um, yeah, so she's pretty. She's taller than me. She's blonde and blue-eyed, very pretty. I was glad to go to one of the Jesus Meatballs with her. And next to that is Sita. She's from South Africa. I call her Barbie doll. Like one day I was copying some stuff. I was researching Jewish law and English common law. And, I wrote an article about it. You could read it on I guess it's on my book, Jewish Law and Identity. If you go to Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com, type in the title Jewish Law and Identity and my name, Heerak Christian Kim, you'll see my book. And then, you probably want to get a paper copy because you have the footnotes. You can see like, like an audiobook, you will not have access to the footnotes. So you probably want to get a paper copy just to see the footnotes because a lot of research is in the footnotes. But yeah, so I was writing that article and I saw, like I was making photocopies in the Cambridge University Law School library, because, that's where I was doing my research for that article. I presented that paper at an academic conference and I turned around and I saw this beautiful Barbie doll looking girl, and that's her, Sita. And she was like 6'3" or 4. She was like way taller than me. She looks like a Barbie doll. Like, doesn't she look like a Barbie doll? And I'm like, hey, just slap me silly if I don't start talking to her, So, so I started talking to her. I said, oh, hey, I was like quickly trying to think of something to say to connect with her, to build rapport, to ask her out on a date. So, I started talking, and for some reason, like we connected. It might have been my body language because I faced her, I wasn't like kind of turned away, but I faced her like, this is even before nursing school. Obviously, in nursing school, we learn to use body language to build rapport. But I faced her and I looked at her and we had eye contact. I maintained eye contact, and she was so pretty, just looking into her eyes. And I said, do you want to go to formal hall dinner at Jesus College with me tomorrow? I guess, was it tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. Was it tomorrow today? Yeah, I don't know. We have once a week for graduates, for like PhD students and law students, business students. It's just once a week. There's this like semi-formal hall. So I said, do you want to go to that? I mean, you want to try the food at Jesus College? It's really good. And she said yes. I was like, whoa, hey. And it's a big deal because obviously it's not like just dinner between her and me in a private restaurant. She actually has to come to dinner with me. So she's coming as my date, and there are people. It's like a whole, it's like a sit-down dinner where they serve you, but everybody sees you. So there's a higher chance the girl will say no because she may not want to be seen with you per se if she doesn't want to be seen with you, right? It's a big deal because people will talk about it for like a week until the next dinner, But she said yes. I guess I have that power over women. I don't know, but she said yes. I guess just take a chance on me, ABBA song. Yeah, like from Mamma Mia. That's a good musical. I like Mamma Mia musical. I don't know if you've seen musical. When I was in England, I tried to see as many musicals as possible because you could get like 50% discount tickets, sometimes even like 80% discount tickets. So I was seeing like musicals that generally cost like $100 for like $15. Yeah. So, I love to do that, So since London is like an hour train ride away from Cambridge, whenever I have like a day off, like on a Saturday or something, and, I get bored with my research, just hop over. You know, like that matinee, like at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock matinee, catch one of those for like $15, you know, in the hot back, you know. Um, yeah, and you know, so I saw Mamma Mia, like musical. It was really, really good. You could actually see Mamma Mia musical, the movie version. Yeah, you could probably download it and watch it. It's you know, it's pretty neat. I mean, I like the live theater better, but you know, I mean, movies were made, you know. Yeah. So yeah, so one of the songs is like a Take a Chance on Me, you know, ABBA songs, you know. You know that they actually asked ABBA to do a reunion tour, and they were going to pay ABBA, it's a music group, $1 billion. That's $1 billion. Yeah, and they said no. Yeah, they're like, no, we're happy in our retirement. We don't want to do a global world tour. So they turned down $1 billion 1 year. Like they had to tour for like a year. They would have made $1 billion. That's $250 million per person. I guess there are 4 people in the group. Yeah, yeah. See all the interesting trivia you get watching this show. Yeah, but anyway, Zita, she's from South Africa, and I guess she's Afrikaans, so she speaks Afrikaans. You know, so Afrikaans sounds like Dutch. So basically, the Afrikaans in South Africa are the Dutch immigrants to South Africa, because I guess South Africa was a colony of Holland, Netherlands. So you have like Afrikaans in South Africa who are like Dutch, originally Dutch. And so, you know, they communicate with each other, with Dutch people. But yeah, so Sita, you know, is South African Afrikaans. And oh, Dr. Pepper tastes good. But anyway, yeah, so you know, so I brought her to Jesus College, uh, and everybody was like staring at her, staring at me, because we came in together. Like she was like, you know, my guest. People were shocked, I guess. I'm like, what do you have to be shocked about? You know, I have it going on. I'm the alpha male of Jesus College. You know, I've never seen any guy bring anybody like one fourth as beautiful as Zita ever. I'm like bringing all these beautiful women, you know, from different countries around the world. You know, beautiful, and she's brilliant. You know, she was doing her master's of laws at Cambridge University in the law department. Yeah, these beautiful people who are beautiful and smart. I mean, and I think she's like a diamond billionaire. You know, so I have these like beautiful women who are like billionaire, smart. Uh, you know, these women like me. You know, I mean, geez. You know, what can I say? But anyway, yeah, I think Zita liked me too. I guess I should have been a little bit more serious about, marrying someone at that time. You know, I should have worked a little bit harder, you know, I guess, follow up and, and stuff like that. You know, one of my best friends at Cambridge, they're like, man, you're so lazy in a relationship. I mean, I'm like, wow, what do you mean I'm lazy? I'm like, you know, I don't know what you mean. It's like these beautiful women, they like me. Like, I didn't even get her a flower. you I mean, like when Zita, and I didn't like get her a flower, or I guess I should have like gotten her something like flower or teddy bear or something, but I just came like empty-handed. I guess other guys, they maybe they work harder. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how other guys do it. I don't ask. I mean, guys don't sit around talking about these things. Guys are not women. I don't know how other guys do it, but Yeah, she's beautiful. She's probably the most beautiful woman in the Masters of Law program at Cambridge University that year. Yeah, numero uno. Because I went to, actually, I know because the girl standing next to her is also a Master of Law student. It's like a 1-year program at Cambridge University. And that was during the law school ball. Yeah, like each school has a ball. That was a law school ball. I got a ticket and I went, and I didn't even ask Zita out. I guess I should have, you know. So Zita came alone. Um, you know, I guess she was hoping that I would ask her out. I don't know how girls think. You know, I don't know. I just don't know how women think. But anyway, I saw her and she looked pretty, and I was like, oh, you know, yeah. So I mean, you know, we have fun time, just like you know, chatting and stuff, socializing, and you know, do other things. But anyway, and yeah. But anyway, yeah, Zita, yeah, she's pretty. You know, I like attractive women. You know, I'm not married. I've never been married. I don't have any children. You know, I'm praying that God will send me someone to marry, somebody who's a good Christian and who's beautiful like Zita. Um, you know, I don't want to be mean or anything, but I haven't really seen too many women who are as beautiful as Zita in Washington D.C. area. I don't know. Maybe I'm, you know, I go to a lot of stuff, a lot of events. You know, and I'm always looking for women who look as beautiful as Zita. I'm like thinking to myself, maybe I should have been a little bit more serious about Zita, made the moves that I should have made. Because I'm like, that's like my level of beauty that I expect in my wife. You know, that's the kind of woman that I want to marry, Zita. You know, she's pretty. She's actually, I think she said she's like Calvinist because, you know, she's Afrikaans. Um, so that's the kind of woman I envision myself getting married to, like Zita, like Barbie doll, you know, blue eyes, blonde hair, beautiful. As I've told you, you know, college degrees, law, master's degrees from Cambridge, these things don't matter that much to me because, you know, number one is obviously Christian faith, but after the Christian faith, number one is like physical beauty, and Zita has it, you know. So yeah, I should have probably worked harder. Just like in hindsight, I'm thinking like maybe I should have worked a little bit hard, you know. I mean, she came alone to the law school ball. It's like a major once a year annual thing. And I'm like, man, I guess I should have worked hard because like once you go Heerak, you can't, you know, all the other guys just seem like inferior, you know. That's probably how Zita was feeling. Like I took her out and she's like, man, there's nobody around who's like compares to Heerak. I mean, why settle for second best when I still have hope with Heerak? I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just joking around a little bit, but who knows? Maybe that's the case. You know, I've heard women say like, you know what? Female friends tell me. A lot of female friends that I have, they fall in love with me for some reason. Like you know, like we're just friends, and they're like fall madly in love with me. And I'm like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. I mean, like they just fall madly in love. I'm like, what did I do wrong here? You know, but they're all like beautiful, like my female friends, so can't complain. But yeah, but you know, now my female friends are like they say like, what did they say? They say you know, what did they say? They said something like you you did they say you break women's hearts? No, I don't think that's what they said. They said something like you oh, you're too slow. Yeah, they say you're too slow. I'm like, what do you mean I'm too slow? You know, like you're too slow with like women. I'm, I don't think I'm too slow with women, but women keep saying that, you know? Like my female friends who, you know, you know, who fall in love with me, they're always trying to get me like drunk and get me to have sex with them. I'm like, I'm Christian. You know, sex is between man and a woman after marriage. I mean, but I don't know what it is. I don't know why they want my body. You know, I mean, like they're like pining away from my body, and I'm like overweight. My BMI, body mass index, is just too high. I'm trying to lose weight. I don't know. They just want like my physical body. I mean, like, you know how many female friends I have who tried to get me drunk so I could have sex with them? I'm like, geez. You know, I mean, it's not easy when they're so beautiful, but, you know, I have to wait till marriage. I'm like Christian, you know? I can't just like have sex with you because you desire my body, because you want me to pleasure you. I don't know if they want me to pleasure them, or I don't know what they want, really. They want sex, I know that, but, you know, I'm not sure what the mechanism is. Is that the pleasure aspect? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but, you know, I had like so many female friends trying to get me drunk to have sex with them. I don't, you know, I'm like, why, why are they trying so hard to get me to have sex with them? You know, it's just a little bit weird, but, you know, yeah, but it's happened to me many times. But anyhow, anywho, yeah, but, you know, um, yeah, you know, but what can I say, you know? I mean, you know, give me a Zeta. Zeta, where are you? There must be a Zeta walking around in Arlington somewhere. Jeez, you know, if you look like a Zeta, I mean, I guarantee you I'll come over and talk to you, you know, if you're single and don't have like an engagement or wedding ring. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but, you know, if you don't look like Zeta, you know, I mean, I mean, I feel inspired to talk to you, you know. What can I say? You know, I mean, I'm a guy. If I find somebody who looks like Zeta, I want to see if it's possible for us to explore further than, you know, possibly getting married, for example. You know, I'm just to put it in plain terms. Um, yeah, but yeah, but I gotta meet one. I mean, I haven't seen anyone who compares to Zeta in DC yet. I mean, there have been few cases who came kind of close, but not that close, you know? Um, yeah, I think the highest I've seen, like in terms of women, like I have to be honest, at Cambridge University, I saw a few women who could be models. I did. And whenever I do, I try to talk to them, and, you know, but you know, obviously, I mean, if you're gonna look like that, I'm gonna talk to you, you know. But yeah, I mean, unless like if you're in the no talking section of the library, then you can talk really. But you know, yeah. But anyway, you know, so I'm in search of my beautiful woman who looks like a Barbie doll. God created beauty. I love God's creation. I think God is an excellent artist. So, you know, I want to, well, you know, marry somebody who is a beautiful artistic creation of God, you know. Um, yeah, I think that's rational and logical, right? Um, yeah. Yeah. So the third article says COVID outbreak, Manchester Metropolitan University students in lockdown. That's in BBC by staff from today. About 1,700 university students have been told to stay isolated after 127 tested positive for COVID-19. So basically, I guess this week is like the first week of college in England. So, you know, I mean, similar things are happening in England that's been happening in the first week of college that opened campus in America. So you're seeing parallels here. So that's why I think like millions of people are going to die in England as well. But it's horrific. You know, England has a, you know, it went through their March and April with all those deaths. I'm surprised England's being so cavalier, so careless with the steps that they're taking in terms of COVID-19. It just doesn't make rational sense, you know. And I think part of the reason is I honestly think the Conservative Party sucks. I think they are recklessly endangering their own citizens. And I think it's in British citizens' interest to vote out the conservatives as soon as possible. I think that's the only way you're going to reduce COVID-19 death, because obviously conservatives don't know what they're doing, and they're leading all their citizens toward COVID-19 death. You got to vote out all the Conservative Party members as soon as possible in British politics. That's the only way you're going to survive COVID. I mean, you're not going to survive COVID. People are still going to die, but you're going to have far less people die. Yeah, I think that's a more accurate way to put it, because it is a global pandemic. So it's not like you're going to have zero death, but you can reduce the death. Now you're looking at millions of deaths because of British Conservative Party. Yeah. The party sucks. The Conservative Party sucks. Can I get a 5 on British Conservative Party sucks? It's a sucky party. British Conservative Party sucks. British Conservative Party sucks. Vote them out. Vote the Conservative Party out. British Conservative Party sucks. But anyway, I had a lot of friends in the British Conservative Party because, I know a lot of nobles. I know a lot of nobles and billionaires and stuff like that. I made friends with a lot of nobles, royals, and billionaires and stuff like that at Cambridge. So, and like they're Conservative Party members. So they're probably pissed at me watching this show. What? You're saying Conservative Party sucks? I'm not going to lie to people, but Conservative Party is leading England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland down to destruction and millions of COVID-19 deaths in this flu season for 6 months. I'm not going to lie to the British people. I've lived in Britain for 5 years. I owe you more than lies. I owe you the truth. So I'm going to tell you the truth. So vote out the British Conservative Party. Can I get a 5 on a vote out the British Conservative Party as soon as possible? Yeah. So, I mean, I like UKIP, United Kingdom Independence Party. Like, there was a girl at Jesus College. She was like a proud member of UKIP, United Kingdom Independence Party. And yeah, she was kind of neat and interesting. I had like some interesting conversations with her about her party and stuff like that. But yeah, you meet a lot of interesting people at Jesus College, Cambridge. Yeah, I'm glad that you tuned in today. I'm glad you get to see Zita, the human Barbie doll. My nickname for Zita is Barbie. Yeah, and yeah, well, the world is a beautiful place. What can I say? I love the world that I live in. World is beautiful. Life is beautiful. God created a beautiful world, especially beautiful world filled with a lot of beautiful women. I wish there were just a little bit more beautiful women in Washington, D.C. area, because I don't see too many women who matches like Zita's beauty in Washington, D.C. So I wish there were. That's just my one. Maybe I will. To be honest with you, I was teaching full-time at Savoy Elementary School in Anacostia neighborhood, 5th graders. So, I mean, and then I was at Cambridge, at Georgetown University, 2 years of intensive full-time classes, full-time semester for 2 years. So, I mean, I did get around though, because I'm the treasurer of the UC Alumni Association, and I'm the vice president of University of Pennsylvania Alumni Association of DC. So I get around. Yeah. So I should have seen some beautiful women, but it's like, and I go to like the Pac-12 socials, since I'm the treasurer of UCLA Alumni Association. I go to like all UC socials. Yeah, but I haven't really seen I haven't actually seen a single woman who matches Zita's beauty, like who's at that level of beauty. Things were different, I tell you, when I was in England. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, at Georgetown University, I've seen some really beautiful women. As I've said, this girl from Florida who's pre-med who graduated in 2020 May from School of Nursing and Health Studies. I talked to her, and I was going to ask her out to the Hoya formal or the Hoya ball. She's actually close to Zita, That's why I talked to her. She's like, I guess she's like 21 now. Yeah, she just turned 21 in her senior year. No, she was pretty. Yeah, she was definitely pretty. Um, she cares about children and, you know, yeah. But, and I did, the Hoyathon, Danceathon for Children's National Hospital. So and I'm a fifth grade elementary school teacher. So I love children, you know. Um, so we have that commonality too. And she's beautiful, So, yeah, but I mean, she's graduated, she's left. I mean, what can I guess it was meant to be, then we'll meet again. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Zita is a little too old for me now, because I have I told you I had my age limit, 18 to 24. Zita's not, she's aged out of that group. So yeah, she's no longer eligible to be my wife, unfortunately, but 18 to 26, that's the eligibility age group. So yeah, she's aged out of that group. So, oh well, but I knew her when she was like 22, So, anyhow. Okay, well, anyway, yeah. So I'm glad you joined me for today. Interesting stuff is happening in the United Kingdom. So I'm glad to to have shared what's going on in the United Kingdom. So you're aware of what's going on around the world. As you know, here at Christian Kim, that's who I am, independent candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia 8th District. I'm predicting minimum 100 million people around the world to die. So you kind of need to know what's going on around the world. Americans are dying at about 20% death rate vis-a-vis the world death rate. So if 100 million people die in the world, it is safe to assume, based on the rate of death that's been maintained for months and months, that about 20 to 25 million Americans will die from COVID. So out of the 100 million in the world who die from COVID, about 20 to 25 million will be in America. And I think that will happen, in the 6 month of flu season. Because, you got to remember there are a lot of things that can kill you. There's COVID-19, but there's also flu, there's the strep throat, there's mononucleosis, there is sinus infection. They have all kinds of stuff in the flu season. So, yeah. But anyway, I'll give you more stuff, more information, and more analysis, so you could keep up with what's going on. But make sure you wear a mask when you go to church tomorrow. And I honestly would recommend to all the pastors, elders, and deacons to require mandatory masks at all worship services. That's what I would recommend. Obviously, you do what you want, but I mean, I think it's in your interest to try to protect your church members from COVID-19 death. That's why I think you should require everyone to wear a mask at your church, in every church in the United States of America. I think you need to make that into like your church policy. Because yes, God wants you to worship at his home, God's home church. But remember, God created COVID. God creates everything. Everything that happens with God's knowledge, God's providence. So 1,000 people dying in America, a majority of whom are Christians, that is happening with the knowledge of God and also within the will of God, in the providence of God, which should show you, if you're a pastor, elder, or deacon, that your church members can get COVID and die, just rationally, right? So I think it's in your interest to institute a policy at your church that everyone who enters the church building inside should wear a mask. Everyone. And they need to keep the mask on. I think that's just a step to take to save the lives of your church members, which I think is in your interest. So that's what I'm recommending today for all the churches that are meeting tomorrow. You can order like a box of 50 surgical masks, which are the best masks apart from N95 masks, respirators, because surgical masks have 3 layers of protection. More layers of protection you have, the better. Obviously, if you get hand on a N95 mask that fits you, I recommend that you wear that to the church. But you gotta require everyone to wear some kind of a mask, right? You don't want people to start dying in large numbers at your church from COVID, which can happen. Caution is always good. Take precautions. There's COVID-19 that's killing a lot of people. You're worshiping together as a body of Christ at church, which is a good thing. But that they could get infected from COVID, which is obviously possible. Christians die of heart attack. Christians die of stroke. Christians die of COVID-19. So just like you take precautions not to get heart attack by not eating too many greasy stuff, you have to take precautions to prevent COVID-19 death as much as you can, like requiring wearing a mask inside the church building. It protects everybody. I mean, it doesn't protect you 100%. Masks don't protect you 100%, but having it is better than not having it. It increases your chance of survival. You see what I'm saying? Nothing is 100% guaranteed on earth. Only God is 100% guaranteed. Human beings are mortal. We could die in all kinds of different ways. You get a vaccine, you could still get COVID and die, nothing will protect you 100% except God. And God's not protecting Christians from COVID-19 death. 1,000 are dying every day. Majority of them are Christians. Many of them are born again true Christians. So, you expect COVID-19 to kill many Christians. So if 20 million Americans die in the flu season, majority of them will be Christians. Many of them will be born again Christians. You gotta expect that. True Christians get heart attack and die. True Christians get stroke and die. It's not like true Christians don't die from heart attack. I mean, it's not like true Christians are protected from heart attack as a matter of policy by God. No, true Christians die of heart attack all the time. I'm just trying to illustrate a point to you, to encourage you to take precautions, just like you take precautions against heart attack, just like you take precautions against stroke, take precautions against COVID-19 death. I mean, I think it's a rational advice, right? That a rational person will take, and God gave us reason and understanding to think critically, to think rationally, to think logically, right? Anyway, I hope you have a good time at church tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing you after church. Tune in tomorrow. Get updates on what's going on with COVID-19, not only in America, but around the world. And be informed. Knowledge is power. The more you know, the more you can do to save yourself and your children and your parents from COVID-19 death. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I hope that you'll be well and that your children will be well too. Bye.